Nghe được chưa? Ok, ok. Uống gì bây giờ? Hello Công. Hello mọi người. Hello Bơ. Hello tiệm nhạc Lofi. Nè, mình có áo mới của bên VNG tặng cho Công Anh, nhưng mà Công Anh không mặc vừa. Mọi người nhìn thấy gì không? Không thấy hả? Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Hello. Cúc đen quá, chả ai nhìn thấy Cúc cả. Chả ai nhìn thấy Cúc cả. Mô ơi. Sao hình như có vẻ hơi tối nhỉ? Bật cái đèn coi. Okay. Uống gì bây giờ ta? Trà ô long sữa. Hôm trước mình vừa mới uống trà ô long sữa xong. Hôm nay mình sẽ định uống cái khác.
Hải Nguyên đã scan 50.000 đồng. Gửi chị nửa cốc trà sữa. V.
Cảm ơn Hải Nguyên nha. sữa liệt nè. Nên uống ô long sữa hay là trà đào sữa ta? Hình như không stream YouTube nữa, YouTube mình không thấy có.
The region, I'm Tash by alongside my favorite sidekick FaZe, and we are your casters for today for the Valorant Challenges Malaysia and Singapore Split 2.
Yes, sir. It's going to be an amazing day because we got some pretty insane lineups, and it is Split 2. It is all these new different kind of teams coming up. You know, there's Bleed today, which have been a powerhouse in the past, 2 days.
That's right, but you guys who don't know, you know what else is different this time around? We do have our sponsors, our exclusive media partner, One Esports, alongside our official broadcast partner, Astro Arena. So do check them out whenever you can. So now let's talk a little bit about today, because if we talk about today, all 4 teams that we are going to be seeing have, well, one is a team that's brand new here to the league, and also the other teams have gone through a little bit of a reshuffle. Regardless, before we go into that, let's have a look at the format for you guys who just tuned in.
Welcome back to Split 2 of the VCT Challenges MYSG. We hope you enjoyed all the games for Split 1, and we are here to give you a quick rundown on what's happening next. Here we have the final standings for Split 1 VCL. Of the 8 teams, the top 6 teams will move on directly to Split 2 VCL, and the bottom 2 teams will face off against the top 2 teams from the Split 2 Challengers qualifier in the promotion relegation bracket. These 4 teams will face off in a 4-team GSL bracket, 1 slot taken from the upper bracket finals, and 1 slot from the lower bracket finals to qualify into the Split 2 VCL. This bracket features best of 3s for all matches other than the decider matches, which would be a best of 5s. Once we've gotten our 8 teams for Split 2 VCL, teams will go through a grueling series of best of 3 matches across a span of 14 days. The top 6 teams will qualify to the Challengers playoffs to fight for the top spot and a chance to compete in the Ascension Tournament. The Ascension Tournament will feature the top teams from the Asia Pacific region. The winner of the Ascension Tournament will qualify for the 2024 and 2025 International League. Without further ado, let's head back to the main show.
All right, and that's the gruesome battle, the gruesome stages that these teams have to go through to just make it all the way through. And the next stage is going to be Ascension. So you guys want to make sure you secure that slot and just go ham here, right now. But it all comes down to this. You got to take it one step at a time.
Yeah, it's really exciting when you think about it, because as I mentioned before, all of these teams have gone through some reshuffles where some players have either been replaced, some players have moved on to other teams, and a whole new slot taken up by a brand new team made up of very experienced players. Regardless if you guys did tune in yesterday or if you guys haven't seen what's going on, we've seen 2 days full of action-packed worth, which was actually casted by FaZe. FaZe, what do you think of the last 2 days that we've casted so far for Split 2?
I mean, especially with the new teams that are being coming up. I saw Kizuna, who's actually going to be in our first game today. It is Bleed versus Kizuna. I thought, you know, with the new team members, it's going to be a little bit more difficult here for them to kind of go to just test the waters here. But they have been playing so well. You know, they went up against Enigma. They actually went 2-1. They beat Enigma 13-3, if I'm not mistaken, in the first map. So it was just a full-on light stomp. But the fact that it is going up against Enigma, they have the experience and everything. So they know how to come back. They know how to kind of build up the momentum and just take it all the way and just close the game out. Bleed, especially, just, you know, the usual. They make their enemies bleed, and it is just so fun to watch them play because they can turn a 3v5 into their situation. They can win out that round. You just have to watch out for them.
Yeah, I feel like for Kizuna, their new team in particular, 2 new pickups. We have Shinsei as well as Bryce. I think that them coming into the team has given a lot of value for them, given the fact that Shinsei is a very, very aggressive, I would say, duelist. And you also have Bryce, who is, I know, the cook of Louvre prior. Now, if you think about it, Riza is still the IGL, but let's put a hold up. Let's have a look at the standings so far to see the journey starting off for Split 2. And right now, again, again, as usual, we always see Bleed Enigma on the top side, and this time around, Bikini Bottom Prada House will be joining them alongside Tio. Now, if you look at Tio, they are actually a rename of their previous team, which was Hey Yakiniku. If you guys haven't seen the video as to why they're renamed, I really think you should. It should be on the VALORANT_MYSG social medias. And for the Bikini Bottom Prata House, I would say there's a bunch of friends who came together. All these players are actually, I would say, very experienced players who just came around to play together and try and win.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's Bikini Bottom Prada House. You say it's just a bunch of friends who kind of came together, but we've got players who used to be in LVR. You know, a couple of them, one or two of them maybe have played for HyperX back in the days, you know, when it first came out. So they are just filled with experience. They know how to play together in this high tier gameplay. Yeah, and we see that. We saw that yesterday or the day before. It just really shows that they know what they're doing. Yes, they just recently came together, but with all these different kind of big brain plays, they are just incredible to watch, and I'm pretty sure you guys are gonna love it too.
Yeah, speaking of that, let's have a look at Bleed versus Kizuna to open up the day. Now, we all know Bleed. I mean, everyone knows about Bleed, but if you didn't know, Bleed did also have a new player, if you guys weren't watching on DyAC number 2. Now, it's a replacement for Jay, actually. It's considered their second initiator, where they have just picked up Neff from X10. Now, if you remember, the Neff in X10 was previously, I would say, their second IGL, as well as, I would say, their initiator player. I would always go to Neff and say he's one of the strongest breach players around. But if you look at what's going on right now, now that he's replacing Jay, it's a very interesting, I would say, situation here when you look at Bleed. Because for Bleed, I think it's because the reason why they picked up Neff is because they wanted a more dynamic and a very different style of gameplay where they can change around their compositions whenever they like. Now, with DyAC taking a back seat, not as the main duelist anymore, switching between controller, between sentinel, it's a very interesting situation when you think about it, because if, say, DyAC wants to go double duelist, and there is that gap for, I would say, a controller, Neff will step through. If, say, there is another, DyAC has to step back and play maybe a double duelist, Neff will step back and take whatever roles that would be picked. Because again, Crazy Guy as well as Scary will have the fixed roles. These are three players that would not be switching any roles.
Yeah, definitely. And just watching Crazy Guy and Scary work together, it's funny because they've got a player from Thailand, one from Vietnam.
But they're just actually
they're just able to kind of just put together this team and go ham. But if you guys didn't know, as long as you have 3 players from MYSG, those 3 have to be the core lineup. You can have anyone else you want, whatever nationality you wish to have. But this right here on the screen, Kizuna Esports, a very strong team here. They, as you mentioned, Bryce and Shinsei, the 2 new players here who actually used to be from LVR. So, you know, LVR, a fun team to watch. They're insanely well, and I think these 2 together have just been made the team a little bit more consistent.
They're like the best friends who joined the team and just made it better. They have really good chemistry, I feel, when you think about it. And on top of that, I think that is more of like, okay, so think about it like this. So Bryce used to be the IGL of Louvre, right? And also alongside Redco, not the IGL, but rather Redco was the IGL, but Bryce was given the fact that, given I think the big brains to do things that he wanted to really complement the ideas that came in from Redco. Now, when he's in this team, I initially thought that he would be replacing Riza as the IGL, but that wasn't the case at all. So the idea now is like 2 to 3 brains might be better than 1, because you also have big brain flaring in the lineup as well. So this is where things get very creative for them. But let's have a look at the vetoes here. Not surprising why they want to take out Split. Bleed does have a lot of pressure when it comes to maps that is very momentum heavy, one-sided heavy. It's really hard to really break through, especially in defense.
Yeah, definitely. I'm surprised that Kizuna didn't actually ban out Pearl here, because that is actually Bleed's very strong map.
I think they're gonna go to Pearl.
Quite possibly. Bleed have like a 90+ % win rate, and they've played about 13-14 games, so they will have no issues at all, you know?
Yeah, they always default for Pearl, but I think they've moved on. They're like, you know what, we're bored of Pearl. It's time to show them our new trump card. Split 1 was all about Pearl. Split 2 is all about Lotus. And if you remember, they did play Lotus the other day.
Against X10.
Yeah, against X10, and it was honestly pretty close, 13-11.
Yeah.
And I was looking at this scoreline. It's very interesting how Bleed played that. It felt like in the early game, especially on defense, they played a lot better, it kept Extend guessing until toward very, very late game when Extend finally came online.
Yeah, it was about what, an 11-8 scoreline.
11-13.
11-13. I mean, for Bleed was actually down. What, 11-8, and they were actually able to come back with some miracle rounds. You know, they were able to just win out a 3v5. They were able to bring Sheriffs up against Vandals and win out the round coming in for the retake. So Bleed, you just have to really watch out for them here in this map. But Kizuna picking up Haven, definitely a great choice here for them. Just their synergy, the way they play as a team. You know, it's going to be tough here for Bleed, but
I'm going to have to disagree with you because if you remember, Bleed has played Haven and it's actually one of their stronger maps. And I think that, in my opinion, when you're going up against Bleed, it's really hard for you to pick the OG maps because they're a team that if they take that one map and they excel in it, they will most likely do very well. Now, we've seen them play Haven. They do very well. And I think the idea is because they saw that Kizuna played very well at Ascent. That's why they banned it out. And I don't think there's any other reason other than that.
I just wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you don't got to go all facts on me there. You know, giving some love to the Kizuna supporters too, you know.
I mean, it's really exciting for me when you think about the Kizuna supporters because they are, I think that as a team, it's a team that, I mean, Alti himself used to be a player. And when a player funds a team, you have a lot of expectations on what you want to see coming up against a very big organization like Bleed. You always want to support the underdogs, but at the same time, we got to be realistic. We've seen the track record from Bleed, and they are one of those teams that are just so, like, yes, they're not big enough quite yet to go super all the way up to champions, but going up toward APAC gave them a lot of experience.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the team you have to watch out for. This is Bleed here, one of the best teams in this MYSG region right now, up against Kizuna, who is actually was relegated last split. This is one of the bottom teams here in Split 2.
They look like a new team, though.
They're a new team, especially with Shinsei and Bryce. These guys are definitely not going to be the bottom two anymore. They're going to be more crazy. They're more energetic. And you just see Shinsei going ham. Everybody just really hitting shots. And the one thing I love about Kizuna is they pick up Bryce. You know, yes, he might be not a duelist. Off-roll, you know.
He's a great lurker, honestly.
He is a great lurker. He is just super consistent.
I mean, that's why in Loop, he was like, let him cook, right?
Yeah, definitely.
That's his timing.
Yeah.
But we didn't really get to see that just yet. I understand because it is still quite a new pickup. It will take some time for them to really figure out the timing, their rotations, going into the team. But I feel like once they figure it out, they might go really far. Because especially during their show up during the second map that they played yesterday or the day before yesterday, I think that it was a map that really caught me off guard. I was like, what? Kizuna doing really well here against this team? I am shook. They look so new, so strong, and it feels like they just need a little bit more to achieve that secret recipe.
Yeah, I keep telling, I was on Twitter the other day, because Kizuna, they said they lost 2-1 to Enigma, and I was casting that game. And the problem with Kizuna is what I can see is they just have so much trouble closing it out. You know, they're able to get those rounds, they're able to maybe win out those, get themselves into a 5v4 situation where they have the man advantage, but in the end, they just aren't able to really close it out or close out even the series. So
is this a new
This is what they have. This is a new UI, yes.
Oh my god, it's so sexy. I love it.
Yeah, it is. I just realized yesterday.
I don't know why. I was watch partying, but I didn't realize it at all. I didn't realize it during Pacific, but I didn't realize it on MYSG in particular. So, you know, I think that when coming back to what Kizuna, you said closing games, I think that their problem is mental. When they lose too many rounds in a row, you start seeing this sort of panic to come through. And this is where you start questioning a lot of things. And question is what's going on here because Kizuna cannot see anything. Shinsei Riza already on the side. Shinsei still gets the first pick here. Shinsei good for 2. Neff tries to trade out. Riza does find Neff in the end of the day. It looks very, very good for Kizuna right now on defense. Plant. No problem at all. Nice little shock dart to come through. Does tag a little tiny bit of damage, but as the other two players left, Juicy and Crazy Guy, it might be a little bit hard, but the lineups are just too good for Crazy Guy. And they are just going to come forward. Bryce, nice little hold, and I don't think there's nothing more that they can do.
That's what I'm talking about. This is the new Kizuna that I love to watch. And you just see.
Did they stack that?
They did. I mean, Kizuna, what they did was they just walked up towards Silong. You know, they walked up Silong. They didn't make any noise at all. The problem was, I think there was one of the defenders from Bleed. They were kind of holding platform. They weren't really peeking. They weren't getting information. So Kizuna was able to just burst out of Silong, put the scan out. And yeah, all Shinsei did was dash towards logs, get the 2 kills towards the back of site, and they were just able to clear it. And we saw a 5v2, and they did not even push. They were playing discipline. They didn't want to make any sort of mistakes. They let Bleed walking towards their crosshairs and just held it down. That's what they need to do.
Speaking of that, this time around, Bleed is playing very close to entrance. They are not allowing the same thing to happen. And I'm guessing in the first round just now, Shinsei's speed probably caught them off guard. Because if you remember, Shinsei loves playing aggressive.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look at the push that they've already have established from Bleed. Jet all the way up towards B long. Juicy's just ready and waiting. He's got a classic to work with, but you know, that's about it. You know, but that map control is exactly what you need. Once again now, Kizuna heading to C.
Zula Scary in trouble, just flushed out by that aftershock as Darion kind of playing forward here. The quick rotates from Bleed is just gonna take away some time or just some space. Regardless, 2 shock darts used up right now, and they're not making any noise. The cut of noise will keep Bleed guessing whether or not have they rotated, have they come through.
Yeah, just look how silent they're playing. 40 seconds left on the clock, and they still have yet to made, you know, any sort of execution on towards side. But look at Juicy. He's hearing all these footsteps, but will the rest of the team rotate? Yes, they do.
Yes, they will. This is the perfect relay of information that they need. A fast quick push into A. Juicy catches him in the astral form. Now it's so hard to come onto sight. Post plant, it's going to be hard because there's not going to be any Nebula smokes to help out. Crazy guy already there. Information relay, but the sprays come up from Shinsei for 3. That force bite is just showing that value of 4. Massive buys here from Kizuna, and they're trying to snowball as much as they can.
Yeah, that was a great round. Exactly what you want to see from Kizuna. They played it default. They spread a couple of players towards A, but the rest of them, the players are actually kind of making their way towards C. They got a pick on towards C. It pulled a couple of rotations. Juicy made his way in towards Ness, and you heard all the information. If he did not have a classic, if he had a Vandal or even a Spectre, these players from Kizuna would have just got mowed down. But, you know, Juicy, he did the right idea. He took down Astra. He took down Flaring, none of the controller. So it really assisted a little bit in the retake, but nonetheless now, we are in the bonus here for Kizuna, and they have to win this one out if they want to keep the ball rolling.
What's interesting is the fact that even though they did lose 1 player, it's as though it was perfect timing because Shinsei already has the blades, was able to give his gun to another player. And the only player that's not on the full buy is going to be Bryce here. Half shields for him, but Shinsei, we all know that the fast push into sight is all he needs. 2-4-3. What a spray coming out from this mad lad. 2 left to worry about. And even though Kizuna force bought that round, Bryce does trade out, finds 2 back in return. Still, a 2 versus 3 situation. Flaring swing a little bit too much for Darion. Catches him off guard. Neff play on the back side here. Still just waiting a flash to come through. No peeks out just yet. Even though Bryce half HP, he is not afraid to push out at all. No plant just yet. And because Flaring is still there, it does provide him at least some cover. Just gonna wait for the rotations for his team. No long rotations from main to come through. As Scary still waiting for time. Gonna put in the right star to come through. But even though Flary had the advantage, gets caught off guard by Scary. Reflexes just too fast. Still, Bryce all alone here. We've seen situations where Bryce can 1 versus 2, but Bryce not in the best shape. 45 HP left. As Scary and Neff here playing together. Bryce still gets 1 more. Scary, he knows where exactly he is. He has no utils left. Have to play on gunplay. First contact wins. And the question is, who will see first? That is Scary. That's a pixel shot that he got.
What a round coming in from Bleed, but they did lose too many members. Look at the amount of money that they have. They will be able to, you know, bring a little bit of something, but the fact that Kizuna was able to take down 4 is just massive. A great play towards that A side.
It was Bryce.
It was Bryce,
I mean. Bryce.
1v2, he's able to take down, make it into a 1v1.
Let him cook from moving into Kizuna.
Flaring had the right idea. You know, he tried to push spawn, but that's scary. You do not want to mess with that guy. He is always on form. He may be a controller, but every single time when it comes down to those clutches, he will hit his shots. He will take you down.
This is a very interesting situation, but Bleed is one of those teams do take a while to figure out the patterns, and that's what Valorant is, a game of conditioning. And if Bleed figures it out, this is what exactly happened to X10. No, they couldn't figure out at all what Bleed is up to. Even though Juicy just have the knives here, no one is pushing up. They don't really want to challenge Juicy. They know that he is the type of person to land those shots. So what they do here is they decide to default.
Yeah, I mean, you have to really watch out for Bleed because they have that ability to control the pace of the game. You know, yes, they might be 3v5 or they might be down, but they still, the opponents always have to respect them and just allow Bleed to kind of, you know, just control the pace, as you said. They can go aggressive, they can do this, do that, but now, on towards the B side already, an explosive entrance here.
Yeah, very, very reminiscent of what we expect from Bleed, but Darian playing on Gong catches Shinsei off guard. He knows Riza is close. Just waiting for time. Let's see who swings first. It's going to be Darian. Timing, but it does not take him down. Switches his guns up here, and he still gets one more. Beautifully done. A nice spray toward Riza. 3K in the pocket there for Darian, even though he is on that killjoy. Crazy guy halting. One tap, two tap, flaring still wins it in the end, but there's just too many people swinging at the same time, and that is classic Bleed play, not allowing them to go down by peeking one by one.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just the way they play together, they don't allow the 1v1s. We saw two players on the ground peeking, flaring towards a C-Link, and then you just have Juicy updrafting, making that a triple peek instead of a 2. But you see how they played it out. They got the spike down. Darian, somehow he was not checked towards the backup side, and Shinsei was a little bit too out of position. I don't know. Once you get the top side, you clear backside, you just fall back. You don't want to be standing up there. Yes, both the links are smoked off, but you don't know who's backside. And it just costed him. And while the retake was going on, you saw how fast Bleed was actually able to wrap them.
They didn't clear out the backside either.
They didn't. Juicy came from window. 3 players pushed up towards B and was just able to wrap them and make it so easy.
That's all the motivation he needs. He doesn't take him down. So very low though. No Sage, no heals though. Regardless, Shinsei already on the sides. Catches Neff off guard. That's how fast he is. Crazy guy. Good for one only. Shinsei does trade back. Switches his gun. No need to reload. And now silence has been established.
Wow.
Suddenly, Juicy in there just gets sprayed out here. Shinsei gets one more. Darian does find Bryce in the end. The trades on trades from both teams here is insane. It's as though it's a tug of war here between the two teams. Regardless, they are just waiting for the right time for this util to go down. The lockdown will give them all the value they need. I have a feeling that Darian actually has lineups here because they're not in a rush to get onto the site. Shinsei moving backwards. There is a smoke. Riza caught in the corner.
What?
But they didn't
No way they don't check.
do that. What a spray coming through here. First Shinsei, still one more to worry about. Riza catches him on guard. What is going on? I can literally feel Sleepy Studios TV just like move in his sleep. What?
Riza was holding his breath for the longest of time, just not making any noise. A fantastic round there for him. I mean, I wouldn't even be able to say it's called trigger discipline. He didn't even have the trigger to pull.
He can't move!
But what a round there. Shinsei able to make his way on towards side. He didn't even have the cloudburst to dash into. Just full-on aggression with the assistance of Kimmy with the fault line, with the flashes. Taking down not just one, but 2 players initially on that A side. Fantastic stuff.
That is definitely something that I would say that is a very harsh punishment for Bleed Esports if you think about it. Given the fact that he was actually the bait rather for Shinsei, still worked out according to plan. But as time ticks here, only trades of sprays to come through. Warning shots just to zone them out.
A little bit of damage at least onto Bryce. But nonetheless, just a slow classic default, you know. This is exactly what we want to see from Kizuna because they're just looking like a new form team. So much more composed. They've already taken control of the C site, but there's 2 players here.
Oh, quickly done. Here comes the Hunter's Fury, comes through, does not tag anyone just yet. Shinsei playing so quietly. Crazy Guy does tag Kimmy in the end. A quick reposition from Darian. He knows exactly where everyone. Shinsei does not check the corner. Flaring is there for the trade. For 2 though, in fact. And here comes Steph also. Trades 2. This is a really interesting tug of war, but in the end of the day, Bleed takes it back again, and this is a very interesting situation for both teams.
Yeah, I mean, Neff was just able to hit those shots very cleanly, straight to the head. Made it look so easy, but man, in that situation, it is always extremely tough. The double peek coming out from Kizuna through the Nebula to be able to take down 1, get that 1-for-1 trade, just perfect stuff, but not going to be enough, especially when Neff is hitting these shots. He's got the Rolling Thunder to work with now, as well as the Cosmic Divide, so a retake will definitely be an easy task here for them. But on the other side, the Killjoy lockdown. Cosmic Divide here on towards Flaring. It's going to be difficult here for both these 2 teams. It's just, it could go either way. Yes, Kizuna is in a bit of a broken buy situation. With these utilities that they have, these ultimates, they can definitely turn around.
Owl drone from Crazy at least does spot out one utility. Not enough information yet for them to really commit to that rotate. So it's all about that hold. And we all know that for Bleed, once they do find that information, they have been known to really abuse it, which is why Kizuna has been playing very, very explosively because it denies them the information. Yeah, timing for Bryce, wow. Crazy.
Good thing Crazy Guy is holding the angle.
Yeah,
if not, if he actually made his way towards A, that would have been an issue.
Shinsei onto the side once again. This is perfect for their playstyle, but Crazy Guy does find Bryce. You talked about timing. Crazy Guy does find him in the end. Shinsei is pushing so aggressively. He's pushing all the way to Link. Whether or not Crazy Guy will get him first is the question.
Look
and
at
Crazy
the wrap
Guy
towards A long.
Yeah, exactly. Crazy Guy has been really huge in getting that first contact. Scary. Crazy Guy, one each. And yet another, here comes Juicy as well.
Damn.
Juicy for 2. And this is the perfect round for Bleed.
I didn't even hear a single shot being fired there by Kizuna. As I mentioned, you know, they have Neff and Scary, the perfect utility for the retake, and they allowed them to go for the plant. They allowed the site for Kizuna to get that spike down. But did you even expect how quick the rotations are from Bleed? They didn't even need to use those two ults.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that he was already there. It was
towards
just
short,
so quick.
you know, it was crazy.
Yeah, because mid-side was Crazy Guy, as well as, who was that mid just now pushing in?
I think it was Bryce.
It was Bryce, yes. No. So the idea that he didn't push out from mid is even more crazy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for your flank to be so... Like, the flank was so quick. It's like they didn't even have a killjoy here for Kizuna.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about timings a lot, about how Bryce's timing is on point. I mean, like, it's just Bryce in general. But, like, when you talk about Bleed, if anyone were to rotate, I think they would get their timing right.
Yeah, I mean, just super crazy there. Now, Kizuna down to what? Down one round. They were doing so well at the start, but Bleed... They have the ability to adapt to how they're playing. They just change their play style, and you can see how quickly now that they go for these retakes, how fast they're able to make themselves into their flanking positions. And Kizuna just always get caught off guard by that. They have a killjoy, but I'm not sure whether the alarm bot didn't work or the turret was out of down for maintenance. But they have to figure out something about the quick rotations.
Regardless, look at how many ultimates Kizuna has. They have stacked that for so many rounds. Perhaps their secret recipe here might be a combination of ultis. Regardless, I think for Bleed Esports, having Ness and Scary's ultimate is enough.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that is going to be the top one here for them. They have 5 ultimates. They can definitely keep 1 or 2 here for the post plant to deny the retake from Bleed. But now,
there we go.
Down here towards A short, just a classic one.
Yeah, this is a very usual utility coming through. Juicy not going to be competing for this, just going to move away. At least one shock dart will be used just to buy some time here. Nice reposition from Juicy, allows him a quick rotation up toward Haven, but it's not going to be able to be seen. Regardless, Shinsei holding a close angle here toward Graffiti will be contested, but man is not scared at all. He will push out here, might just catch someone off guard. But the sprays, Darion does find Kieran in the end, and Dev does find Shinsei. Crazy Guy, undeterred at all. There's the idea from Bleed here. When you play and have a buddy system, you will get a lot of value. 2 Rolling Thunder sent out at the same time. Both teams not able to follow up. Riza finds Darion, Juicy onto Riza, back in return. Cosmic Divide as well, just to be a firing squad here. Juicy pushing up onto the site. They want to go for the defuse, but look at the aggressive push come through, and Crazy Guy still gets it, and Bros don't fake. Neff gets it in the end, and that's how much trust he has for his teammates.
I'm not sure if you guys caught that, but the way they went for that retake was just beautiful. As Scary, he put down the Cosmic Divide to split the site diagonally. All they needed was 1 drone from Crazy Guy. He cleared out the left side of the wall, the left side of the site towards Long as well, so they knew, okay, there's no one here on towards the site. Let's put the Rolling Thunder towards A short. And that Rolling Thunder just turned the round around, you know, into the favor of Bleed. Just fantastic stuff. They knew exactly where Kizuna was playing, just funneled them towards short, and they're just able to win out those fights because they have so much information.
Yeah, and funneling them into a small little area allows them very, very easy access for some sprays. But look at how aggressive they are right now. Darion with the concuss to come through. Shinsei so aggressive, unfortunately, with his knives, and will be punished by Darion for that. Look at Scary, so very low, but Darion will be the one to take up the main area here, playing on the soft side. And does find one more. Darion playing this very ratty plays with 4 in the pocket, and that's twice already in the first half that we've seen someone with a 4K.
Yeah, Kizuna, they tried to change the pace. They tried to get aggressive. They were able to get their bodies on site, but just not able to land those shots. Shinsei missing all those 5 blades on towards Darion, I think.
There were a few people in the smoke, so it was really hard for him to really pinpoint who he wants to go for.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, coming in and out of the smoke there, it's just, you don't really...
Yeah, you can't really tell, right? Yeah.
But man, I feel like that was a bit of a desperation attempt to change the pace. It just did not go their way. They had the right idea.
They had the right idea, but regardless of that timeout here, it felt like Kizuna still not really able to figure out this defense, or the patterns rather, from Bleed, because Bleed is just so, I would say, fluid in terms of how they change up and how they play. It's so hard to really figure out where exactly each player is going to be when every single round might be different.
Yeah, definitely. And this is a bit of a attempt here towards long, a little bit of fire here going each way, but no one will be injured. Just information being given that there's still a little bit of presence here from Kizuna towards that A long, so they can't really rotate. But look at where they're going now. All crosshairs here set towards the B site.
Oh, explosive play once again, and Scary already on the site. He is suspicious there is going to be someone on top of the area, plays pretty closely. Shinsei does find Neff in the end. Sprays out here, Crazy. Sorry, Riza does get taken out by Scary. He already for 2. Very quick reaction time here as they push in 1 by 1. And suddenly, Juicy with the knives, only good for 1. Now for Darion, he tries to make something happen, but flaring with a double, not enough for him to do anything. And this is a very interesting situation. We were just talking about Bleed playing together, and they were going to be 1 by 1.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Kizuna, you saw how different they kind of were in that round. They expected the rotations to be coming in that fast. So yeah, the spike was down. Usually it takes some time for the teams to recuperate, to regather before actually going in for the retake. But you know, they know for a fact that Bleed likes to come in quick. They like to get that numbers advantage and just get that first pick off. And Kizuna was ready. They just had to hold it down, get a couple of shots through the smoke. They were able to take down 1 or 2, and Bleed just had no way to answer back.
Yeah, and because they were also very, very isolated because of the utilities. Regardless, Shinsei does get scanned out here. They all know that he is playing close. No movement yet from the side of Bleed. You can see Darion still holding on to C. There are movements toward Link, so that if there's someone were to just switch toward B, there is going to be at least a few people on the side itself. Now, the priority on B here is very interesting, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, they keep 3 players there. You know, it's a small map, you know, especially when you're towards the middle of the site. You can easily rotate to either of these sites, but Darion now, he has the lockdown to work with. So, yep, Crazy Guy, all he's got to do is fall back. Just play retake. They want to allow them to take that A site.
Free. Look how fast they are onto the site already.
They've got the lockdown here.
Yeah, the timing was just not on their side. As soon as they left the site here, because everyone was so focused onto B, because of how much, at least some information they had, perhaps a miscommunication. Regardless, A site is very, very difficult to retake, and the Cosmic Divide as well from flaring is going to make it a lot more hard. They also have that lockdown as well to really fortify everything. But that alarm bot will give them all the information they need. Flaring is good for 1 only. Riza as well with the crossfire. Neff for 2. Beautifully done. A nice flash to come out as well. And he's just going to spray it out. But Riza still wins it in the end. 30 HP. Kimmy still holding. He knows there's still only Darion to play with. Has an idea where he is. Darion still finds him in the end. Time, not of the essence. He must either save or go, and he decides to go. And this is the best round for him to save. And finally, Kizuna takes a few rounds, 2 rounds in a row, I believe.
You see how smart Kizuna are playing right now. Yes, they're down, but they're trying their very best. You saw Bleed always coming in for the flank, especially when they hit that A site. But this time around, they did the same thing. They had Neff, they had Scary pushing up towards A main, but when that lockdown came down from the defenders, we saw Flaring and Riza towards long. They were already ready. They knew for a fact that the quick rotation is going to be coming their way. They adapted from the previous round, and they were able to close things out. Riza, luckily, he was able to hit his shots on towards Neff. But man, just fantastic stuff here from Kizuna. They're using their brains. They're adapting very well to the way Bleed are playing.
And now Bleed's playing aggressive. Look at how much utilities already thrown out
already.
here. Yeah, and this time around, Bleed says, we will bring the fight to you instead you coming to us. Already, the aggression toward window.
Oof.
Some tags there already for the wall bang. And here comes the Rolling Thunder at the same time. Quick initiation onto A. Shinsei already on the side. We know as soon as Shinsei's on the side, it's going to be really hard to go retake. A plant comes through here. Shinsei playing inside of Nebula. No idea how Bleed will be doing it this time. Because if you remember last time, they were trying to go for flanks, but they were aware that they have traps there because of Bryce last time.
Yeah.
And now they're playing in from that choke.
I love the fact there's so many utilities here for Bleed.
Yeah, and now Shinsei still waiting for time as Juicy still finds one more. Shinsei does find Darion. Neff finds Shinsei. Here comes Hunter's Fury. Does get one tag. Brings them down just enough. A shorty to Neff's face. A nice little spray from Kimmy. Beautifully done. A defuse to come through. They cannot do anything. And Scary is the one to make sure the defuse comes on the end. And it's, I have to say, this is a pretty expensive round though, because crazyguy was the only last person alive, but switching.
Yeah, not too bad at all. I mean, Bleed, surprisingly, they were able to win that one. You know, they just bum rushed their way on towards site. I saw everybody on Bleed, they still have their utilities. I think it was, oh my god, now that the colors have swapped, I'm so confused. But Neff, he had all the flashpoints, he had the aftershock, he had fault line. Crazyguy, he also had the drone, every single utility, so that retake was very easy here for them. All they had to do was trust in it, get the trades out, and, well, hit their shots. And in the end, they really managed to do so. That Rolling Thunder in the end by Neff really just locked it down.
Let's see how Bleed does on attack. We all know that they have a very interesting way of playing attack on this map. Either go fast or slow is the question, but for Kizuna, Shinsei always loves going aggressive, but Neff was pretty much already expecting that. He gets punished for it. Still one more to go. It will be Juicy that will be punishing Riza this time around. Coming out one by one is going to be a problem here, but Bryce does get at least one constellation prize, which is going to be Darion going down here. Regardless, still 4-on-3, very winnable round. They just have to take their time to figure out where exactly they're going to go. Still on the C side here, Bryce holding on for dear life, does not want to push at all. Some noise here from Juicy, and still punishes. I'm just surprised, honestly, because they had all the information they need. Flushes out the right area, no need to check, at least for Juicy, already on the site here. Not as explosive as what Shinsei did in the last round, but it's a very, I would say, slow and clean round to ensure that they really secure the site. And for Kimmy this time around with Bryce, 4-on-2 situation. Yes, we've seen Bryce pull off miracles back in Louvre, but this might be a whole different situation. The beast in front of them right now is Bleed. Slowly pushing onto site here. There are a lot of crossfires they have to worry about, as well as that concuss to come through. There is one trait for that, and suddenly it feels just so hard, because look at how many utilities are there waiting for them. His teammate is down, and Neff will get one more in his pocket.
Yeah, it's tough. You can't really do much there with Kizuna. You have Neff playing Hell. He has fault line. He still has flashpoints to work with. And you see Scary on towards default. All he's doing is jiggle peeking. All he's doing is getting the information. As soon as he sees someone crossing towards that CT spawn, Neff just lets loose. The fault line came in, we saw earlier. We saw the flashpoint as well. You cannot do much if you're Kizuna, especially in that 2v3, but just a massive round there by Bleed. They were able to get the couple of picks, 2 picks towards A long very early on. Kizuna, they put 4 players towards A, and they were still able to lose those fights. But now, all sides here set. I'm towards that C so far, but they decide to rotate back. Very smart, very methodical. That's the kind of Bleed that we love to watch.
They take their time, just trying to go for information first. They know that if Kizuna, if they don't have that information, it's really hard for them to really execute a plan. And we all know that how, I would say, surgical, as you mentioned before, they can be. And I think that how Bleed thinks is, we can only execute or make a plan with the information we have, and the only information we have is that we have a controller on the C side.
Droning it out. Of course, you have to be very careful because, you know, it's classics. You're up against classics, maybe frenzies. Sheriff also, long range is going to be a lot of damage. Oh. Finds the wrong time to go for the peek. He heard the drone, so he thought it was going to be a fake out, and they just now bum rush here towards A.
It's a very fast round here for Juicy already on the aggressive.
Oh, I love that clear.
At the same time, he passes by Shinsei. Surprised that he actually survived, but Darion from the backside here catches him off guard. No knives are going to be happening though. I'm a little bit disappointed. We want the condo, bro.
They just want to close it out as soon as possible. They realize that Kizuna can be a threat. But now Bleed have kind of... Well, now that they're on the attacking side, they're able to change the pace. You know, in the first round, in that pistol round, what they did was they got the couple of pick swords. Long, they slowed it down. They changed things up. They allowed Kizuna to overthink what was going on. Should we rotate? Should we not? And they burst out on towards that A site. So that's the kind of plays that Kizuna have to go up against. And that's why we saw Riza push up. You know, he wanted to check the corners. Yes, the drone came out, but
he wasn't sure where exactly it's going to be.
Yeah, is it really true they're going to be coming towards A? It was an eco anyway.
Is it just him alone? And so you can't really tell. That's the beauty of Bleed. The game of conditioning is very strong for them. And speaking of conditioning here, Darion, was that conditioning shot, perhaps? I think he did spot out one in garage. Moving away, just going to quickly clear out the front of B. And look at that. Immediately, 2 quick rotates, or at least some peeks onto B, takes them away from the sites. So if you see how separated all the players of Kizuna are, is actually being the problem here, because they're not able to trade out like how Bleed plays in terms of like running together, and Flaring already getting all the information he needs, puts up a star, gets cleared out behind, also gets the gravity well, he walks up straight into Juicy, goes down, sprays through the smoke here, no one's get tagged just yet. Crazy Guy a little bit low, no worries for him. Scary play in the corner, good for 2, beautifully done. Yep, with the Spectre at that range, are you crazy? Neff gets one more with the Bulldog nonetheless, and Scary holding very, very close. A nice little crossfire, Kimmy eating that damage from a lot of utility, and Darren finds him in the end. One final player to worry about, and it's gonna be Riza coming in all the way from main, and he's like, yeah, I think I'm gonna save.
Let's not. I mean, just fantastic stuff.
Cạnh nhau nhiều làm
just
gì?
Classic execution. They clear out
Người
a
ở ngoài
couple
bình
of
luận
killjoy
có được cái
utilities
gì
towards
đâu.
garage. Play it slow,
Hay hay không thì
walk all
vấn
the way
đề nó là
towards C long, play that
nó
contact game.
đi học đại học
You
nó
know,
không
we
muốn bỏ
saw
học.
Flaring playing towards the top of platform. As soon as he spotted anyone there,
Nó
he
không
popped the
thể tập
nebula,
luyện thường
which
xuyên
was,
được thì
you know,
phải
in
thay người
between
thôi.
sight
Ảnh hưởng
and the
đến
platform. So it
lịch
allows
thi
him
đấu,
to kind of have a
lịch
little
luyện
bit
tập
more
của cả
space
team.
to play with. If he gets scanned, playing in towards the nebula,
Đâu có ai
and that's how he was able to
nhận
get
là
that
hay
first
hơn
pick
hay
out towards
là
Juicy. But we saw
đẹp hay
Bleed,
hơn hay là
the
không
way they use their utilities,
như nào đấy đâu.
just
Cạnh nhau làm gì?
just on point every single time. With one flash, they're able to get a kill. With a shock dart coming in from Crazy Guy, they're able to take down, put so much damage on towards Kimmy in spawn. One more flashpoint from Neff to blind him, and they just secure that frag towards spawn. It's just these small little details of how they use your utility it's crazy to watch, and it's so fun to watch how much synergy that they have.
Hello, em
You know,
sủi.
Valorant is not just about the gunplay. You can have a classic, but if your teammate flashes for you and blinds the enemy with an operator or an Odin, you're able to get that shot.
I think it's also really important to talk about weaponizing the enemy's utility as well. Because if you saw how they pushed out Flaring's smokes just now, was together. It was the fact that we can clear it together and we can at least get that trade if anyone's playing inside of the smokes. And the way they played the smokes as well is as though like it doesn't really matter whose smoke it is. With the power of numbers, with the power of swings, we can get the value. It was really hard for Flaring to even get a pick out of that.
Yeah, he was only able to take down Juicy. But everybody else coming on towards that side, in towards that smoke, it was just fantastic stuff. Execution now on towards C.
Yeah, quick onto the side here as Bleed. Neff already and Scary get one each. Scary for 2 already. Very clear. Switches weapons at the same time. Runs out. No need to do anything, honestly.
Easy.
This is a very, very clean round. And we talked about Kizuna's mental. And when you come, and we've seen this before in Kizuna, when they lose so many rounds in a row, we start to see this idea like, what are we going to do? It's as though they have no clue what exactly we're going to do. And we talk about this timeout. Now for Kizuna, there are some times when I feel like, how many rounds in a row are you going to give before you're going to call out that timeout? What should we do? And I think that for Kizuna, yes, they are a great team, great on attack, because it allows them to control the momentum of the game. But what if the momentum's not out of their hands? How are they going to figure it out? And I think that one of the biggest problems with them is because that denial of information from Bleed makes it so hard for them to rotate and play together.
Yeah, correct. I mean, just insane. I think Kizuna is just giving a bit too much respect to Bleed. You know, when Bleed is already executing on towards C, we see Riza towards A long, still kind of taking it slow, still kind of giving so much respect, because you never know. Darion, yeah, he could be around the corner.
There's
he
always
could be
someone lurking,
yeah,
yes.
But it's just you have to take the gamble and just try go for it, because just giving too much respect gives Bleed so much control and so much
Ice Mirror.
Pace, so much map control.
I mean, when you talk about Bleed, it's always been about the game of control, and I think this is something that we should really highlight, the fact that they're able to take up that space and hold it, and that respect comes from conditioning as well, when you think about it, because how many rounds in a row have we had someone in the backside here, and because of that, Riza's not able to really figure out, should I be aggressive? Should I really take this fight? Should I catch them off guard? How many are there? And because of that, it's really hard for them to really execute a lot of things. Regardless, this is a very early aggression coming in from Bleed. Usually they're very quiet, but this time around they're taking a different approach. Now, Shinsei decides to take that gamble and is very, very well rewarded.
That's what they need. That's exactly what Kizuna has to keep going. You know, try to get those aggressive peaks. Use your utility to your advantage to try at least get one. And there we go, Shinsei with the operator. He is just phenomenal.
Oh man, right in the middle of that utility. That Hunter's Fury and Nef just swings out. And we know that that is honestly the best time to really disrespect the Sova, in the middle of his Hunter's Fury. And honestly, Nef timed that so very right. There's still one more person waiting in there, and Shinsei has not moved an inch. Now you hear the utility come through. Unfortunately, he whiffs and Nef punishes him. Very quick reactions from that man. Aftershock to come through here. Still one more. Scary really quick on the ball. Flaring gets one more, but Scary is there for the Band-Aid trade. Regardless, a 1 versus 2 situation here. Bryce, we want to see you cook. Can he make this happen? It's going to be very, very difficult. There's also the Cosmic Divide as well
he may have found a perfect timing.
Here we go. Still gets one to push into it. But it's not that Nef is playing close either. He's still playing a very sneaky game here. Both players trying to be as sneaky as they can. He's looking the other side. Timing will be very, very important. A nice little swing, and Nef wins in the end. The timing for him to put out his utils was just so unfortunate.
That was a 3v4, and that is the bread and butter of Kizuna, of Bleed. They're down one man. They already have control of A short, they have control of A long, and they do not make any steps at all. They force Shinsei, who was itchy. He got the first 2 frags, and they forced him to go for the peek towards A short, and Nef was able to trade it out, make it a 3v3. And that's what they do every single time. Kizuna, they had the right ideas. They knew for a fact that, oh, they went quiet, but they still have the ability to re-hit that A site. So we saw flaring alongside Kimmy rotating towards A. And they gambled that it was going to be an A hit, but they just lost their gunfights.
It's really unfortunate, because if you think about it, Bleed a little faster on the first contact, especially from Scary. From Juicy, just a lot faster, and immediately Riza gets a tap from Juicy. That's actually phenomenal. Huge round if you think about it. Without Juicy, it's going to be a little bit hard to get onto the side here. Crazy Guy watching the flanks. There's still one more Shinsei to worry about. Crazy Guy does get tagged here, but look at that.
Wow.
Nice little tag team situation from Scary. Nice bait from Crazy Guy. Honestly, this is a very clean round. They get the plant at the same time. Already match point. Can Kimmy actually do anything here? Rolling Thunder as well. Scary knows exactly where he is to play, as Kimmy is still on the other side. Still finds him in the end. Kimmy, let's get a switch out to the gun. But Darion, nice rotate actually when you think about it. Catches him off guard. And I think for the side of Bleed, it's just about that map control. Rotations on point. In the name of control, again, still in Bleed's hands.
Yeah, just incredible stuff.
1-0. Oh no. Quả ulti kêu rồi chôn thật. Hai người cứ chửi nhau thôi. kiểm tra xem stream được bao nhiêu like rồi. Được có 300 like. Mọi người like đi chứ. Kênh chat này nhiều luồng ý kiến quá, mình không đọc kịp. Bình thường là Công Anh ban hết nhưng mà mình sẽ để đấy. Nhưng hôm nay là cơ hội của mọi người đấy.
I'm the initiator and IGL for Big Esports. About our team, we overheat while playing a lot. Like when we get the first kill, we will try to fight the second one. And when we get the second one, we will try for the third one. And sometimes that one will cost us the game.
Học kịch bản thuộc đấy.
During the off time, sometimes we just go buy food and cook the meal together and play right after that.
Hi everyone, my name is Derek, also known as Darion, and I play the Sentinel role for Bleed Esports. One fun fact about crazyguy is he actually has like one of the loudest voice I've heard ever in my life. One fun fact about Scary is he's actually known for his calculativeness and calmness.
Áo team mới này đẹp hơn áo team cũ này. Màu đen này đẹp hơn này.
It will probably be X10 because they brought in 2 new additions to the team, which would most likely bring a positive change to their environment.
Hello everyone, my name is Phone. IGN is Scary. I'm come from Thailand. I play a controller role for Beat Esports. Fun fact about the young is now he is Sentinel player for us, but he really don't like to play Sentinel. Every time we play the map that he had to play Sentinel, he gonna say, you join again, Zephyr again, I don't like to play, can I change? Yeah, pull the on. I feel really good to have chance to play here. They are my teammates, very kind. They are good guys, but I don't think too much. I just focus about my performance and my team performance. So we're gonna win the Ascension.
My name is Juicy and I play the duelist role for Bleed Esports. Fun fact about Neff is that when he eats chicken rice, he's scared to eat a lot. So he's scared to 加肉、加饭和加蛋. I think I would want to be remembered as the crazy entry fragger who kills 3 and doesn't die.
Hello guys, my name is Marcus and I go by the IGN of Neff and I play the flex role for Bleed Esports. So when Juicy orders chicken rice, right, he'll only order chicken rice that is worth $10. If not, he will not be willing to eat it. Which probably explains why he is 2 times of my weight. So an advice I can give is that to just grind the game out and get better at the game. And another important point is to build connections with players that are in positions that you aspire to be in the future.
Mặt này mặt nhịn cười này. Mặt nhịn cười này. Vẫn cãi nhau. Hôm nay có cả em trắng trẻo watch party cùng luôn. Lát nữa có cả một em đen đen nữa cơ. Em đen đen rồi. Nghịch cái gì đấy? Đâu giữ được nó. Nãy giờ nó cứ trèo lên bàn này, nó đòi bế ấy. Thế xong bế thì nó cũng không ngồi yên. Đây này, xong nữa này, xong nữa này. Ôi giời. Công Anh vào xử lý viewer của anh đi. Em thấy nói nhiều quá em không đọc kịp. Mọi người bình luận gì thì bình luận nhưng mà nhớ like stream nhé. Thank you. Con Cúc á. Con Cúc nó cứ chạy nãy giờ chị không bắt được nó. Mua cho bao nhiêu đồ chơi không chơi, nhưng mà chỉ thích chơi mấy cái ni lông này này. Mấy cái ni lông của ống hút này này. Ngã bây giờ. Cúc á, Cúc là cái em ạ. Cái mà như con quỷ ấy. Rất nghịch. Cúc mình được 3 tháng rồi. Bảo nuôi mèo cho, tính là định nuôi thêm một đứa cho MoMo nó chơi cùng ấy. Tính bảo nuôi mèo nên thôi cho nó hiền, cho nó đỡ nghịch. Xong rồi lúc mang về thì nó nghịch hơn cả con Mo. Hey.
Tall order for Kizuna, and they need to just keep it going. As long as I see a little bit of something, a little bit of fire in their hearts, some
Cúc
great plays, their chemistry doing a lot better than Split One, I'm happy to see Kizuna here.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think there's a lot of expectation onto their coach as well for Kizuna. Mark L, I think he really wants to, you know, put his mark here. I mean, like, yeah, really shows his mark on Bleed, and I think he wants to do that as well.
Xem game
so
2
shout out
này.
to the homie as well, if he's watching. Now, let's have a look here.
Lester is the coach?
Yeah, not Mark L, sorry, Mark.
Oh, Mark.
Yeah, Mark. Not Mark L, not Lester, sorry.
You got me.
Yeah, that's 2 Marks, so
yeah,
I got a bit confused there. Regardless, he's going to get so mad at me. He's going to tweet this out later. I'm just going to wait for that. Regardless, look at how aggressive Bleed is already. And this is what I was talking about, this aggressive taking areas and flaring with that first contact is going to be huge. Now, without Neff, this is going to be a little bit more easy for them to hold the site after they get that hold. Regardless, for Bleed, still just going to have to clear out B side here, making sure that the whole area is not only clear, but no one is playing inside the smokes, just to make sure that they can contain,
không biết làm
I would
nào
say,
nữa,
the
kiểu mấy
control
tai nghe
of
nó
the
chỉ
sites
được như thế
itself.
thôi.
But because it's going to be a fast hit onto the A site, look at how deep already they are.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough retake here for Bleed. They have to hit their shots. They don't have Neff here. They don't
Bây
have
giờ
the
cạnh nhau
utilities.
thì
And Shinsei,
Nhanh Trí
super
mua ngay
aggressive.
chữ màu xanh cãi để nó có trọng lượng hơn.
Very adept with that sheriff. Huge picks. And now it's only crazyguy and Darian to really pick up the pieces. Now the question is, how exactly are they going to do this? Darian on the Sentinel, gonna have to just wait for the smokes to come through. Crazyguy is just so very low. They have a nice cross here coming in from main. So for Bryce, I think he may have heard the footsteps, and Darian quickly moving onto the site, playing onto that. The haunt does find him in the end of the day. He still gets 2 reads that trades him out. For Crazyguy, he hasn't moved at all. He's gonna try at least not to go down to a player, not to give that extra credits. Heals up. He's trying to try and go down to Spike. Maybe he can get another player just to give that extra credits here. And he does. Everyone knows where he is. There's still one more to worry about. Unfortunately, does get tagged. Not gonna go down. Extra credits to them in the end.
Yeah, a bit of a misplay there from Bleed. We saw Crazyguy waiting for the heal towards stairs. Darian got a little bit too aggressive. He was able to pick up, what, 2 frags, but if he had waited for Crazyguy to heal himself back up, if they were able to wrap on towards that site for that retake, then it would have been a different story. That could have gone maybe a lot closer than it looked. But you saw the way Kizuna played. They put the players towards
chị có mic mà, chị có mic rời mà, nhưng mà chị để ở nhà Hà Nội ấy. Kiểu mấy lần về quên mất không mang theo, kiểu mang theo linh kỉnh á. Mà mấy khi mình stream đâu.
Opening that door. But Kizuna just read it like a book. Flaring was able to take down Breach. And, well, they just had that man advantage, made their way on towards site with ease, towards A.
Really liking this, I would say, more aggressive approach here from Kizuna, not allowing Bleed to play aggressive and gives them so much space to work with. And no one has been playing toward tree, gives them full access onto the site. I think for Bleed here, that's what they're going to be doing here. A nice little flank to come through, all four from the other side, leaving only crazyguy to take care of the area. I don't think he has in his hand is just that classic. Maybe he can go for a pick perhaps, but Shinsei already taking control of so many areas of site. Drops up from drop here as Juicy. Now who is attack and who is defense is the question. Riza flaring, 3 already taken out here. Neff still gets 1 more. Gets a nice little upgrade in the end. Gonna play around door here if he were to push in. Nice little fake, still holding in towards stairs. Shinsei hasn't moved a single inch, hoping that someone will push through here. Timing not on his side, as he is already holding in the end of the day. But it's a very expensive round for Kizuna.
Yeah, Bleed, they didn't even upgrade pistols into it. It was all 5 classics from Bleed. 4 players coming in from the flank towards Rubble, and they were able to take down 3 players from Kizuna. That's the kind of danger that Kizuna has to watch out for.
It's a mindset as well, right?
Exactly.
I mean, when you're on that deficit, is that you have nothing to lose. We have no guns to worry
Get in
about.
there, get the right clicks, get the left.
Exactly. And we like to see this aggression come through. And I think that for Bleed, learning, taking these rounds to really learn patterns have been very, very beneficial for them.
Yeah, that's the danger. That's the sort of rounds that we saw on the first day. Bleed versus X10. Classics taking down 2-3 players and being able to turn retakes into their favor and stealing rounds from X10. So Kizuna, I'm sure they've watched the VODs. I know for a fact that they have to be very careful about how they check these corners, how aggressive, what kind of sound cues they give out to Bleed, because every little piece of information that they give away, it will definitely be used very well here by Bleed. A technical call is now being being called, and we're just gonna only just have to talk about this. Look at this, DyAC already with the operator in his hands. I'm not sure if he's really gonna invest into this. He can always resell it, but this guy is just going ballsy.
I mean, DyAC has been very adept with the op, and I think that he is one of those players that rarely ever misses when he is on that advantage, when he's on that right mindset. I think
he to be a duelist.
Yeah, I mean, it gives him a different set of mindset when you move into different, I would say, different roles. Now, if you think about it, it's very similar to global esports. Know how they were collecting all duelists from all around the world to bring them into their roster, regardless as the round starts. Full control of Rubble already, and DyAC the first pick onto Bryce. Huge. That's already someone taken out. I mean, they are Sentinel.
Yeah, you don't expect someone to push up towards B, have that cheeky angle towards that call position, and it just really caught off Bryce, and that's the lurker. That is just incredibly
this is a nice
tough.
one-way. Look at this. Very beautifully done. And someone just through, and Darren immediately reacts.
Gotta be careful. He's a glass cannon. He did not even buy half armor. He's just full on just HP here on towards him. Already down to 65 HP. That Vandal can really just shred him down. Even that Guardian in the hands of Kimmy. Couple of taps and he's out of here.
Yeah, now as they run out of weapons here, this is Bleed's bonus, and I think Bleed is playing this very, very well, because understanding that they are going to be losing the guns if they do not play properly this round. They want to get that round advantage, and Bleed has been really great when it comes to momentum sort of games. They want to get that heat, and they need to change those rounds, and the aggression comes here. Juicy does tag out. Flaring, he's so very low, but at the end of the day,
30 seconds left.
He won in the end.
That's a tough shot to hit that one.
He was jumping up.
The animation as well takes a little bit more time for the aim to be just on form. Hitting B here. DyAC is here, but this is going to be a perfect paranoia.
Yes, very well done. Even that op is now out of the way, gives you so much space. That aftershock is not doing them any favors, just buys a lot of time. Crazy guy is huge on Flaring. He does find him in the end. Nice little trade there with the Guardian. Sprays through smokes, making sure no one is in there. And still has 2 of his flashes. Can play with his teammates, just waiting for the right time. Here's a flash to come through. A follow-up as well for the paranoia. No push-outs except for him. And then a day beautifully done. Neff playing close, does get punished by Kimmy in the end. Here comes the Rolling Thunder just to deny that defuse. A flash as well. Finds DyAC down. They're still scary to worry about. Still holding the line, puts that smoke down, rushes onto the site. He does hear that tap. Still one more fault line to worry about. Sprays through the smoke. Does it actually hit him? He doesn't. Do not fake. He gets it in the end. Does tag him, but does not kill him.
Trái phải.
Very expensive, but he was hoping to God he hit a little bit of something, but Kimmy was just outlining there. Outlining is scary, but just how clean was that retake by Bleed? Very, very expensive here round for them, but nonetheless, they still bring the operator in. And that operator on Durian was able to pick up 2 initial frags to start a round.
Smoke thì biết
This
sao
time around,
được.
they've got it on Juicy, a very high
Đen thì không
mobility
dính
player
thôi.
here, especially on this race. You're able to get the shot off, you're able to satchel out if you miss it, but this time around, will he be able to actually hit anything? There's no one there. Okay.
They did a wall as well. A wall expanded and no one pushed up to their area. Very unfortunate. But we still have Darren holding this area. We hear shots coming through here. So everyone's still just clambering around trying to find as much information as they can. But immediately Darren finds that one way and Shinsei immediately gets punished for it. Smoke does go down in the end. They do hear the footsteps from Bryce. A push up from the other members of Bleed as well. And immediately that Nano Swarm will just clear out the area.
Wow,
Bit
utility.
of 3 utilities used onto Darren Aftershock at the same time. A little bit of a move there. He still gets one more for finally going down to Riza. A very, very, I would say, costly situation just to get onto the site. Prowler does find one more person. It gives them a lot of information they need. Teleport onto the site here. Neff just holding the line. But Flame's push punishes him. This man is deterred by nothing. Crazy guy. Gonna find Kimmy in the end of the day. Scary hasn't moved. Seas does find him. He's playing inside of smoke, trying to play as safe and as careful as he can. Does get found by flaring. But now the silence is just keeping them on their toes. A revive from Crazy Guy gives the equilibrium at least man advantage. A lockdown as well expanded as they push up, takes all that space. This lockdown only serves to buy a lot of time, does not give any room to the members of Bleed at all running onto the site. Flaring just teleports. Immediately, that Haunt does find Darion in the end, gives him all the information he needs. A tap to come through. Look at the spray from Juicy, just so well done. What on earth?
That was a pretty good teleport there coming in from Flaring. You know, instead of getting hidden by the lockdown, he grouped up with Riza, but unfortunately, you know, the 2v3 situation was just not in their favor. Crazy Guy, great revive here. He knew exactly where to go, open up the door. He had assistance as well, and just kind of played the numbers game. Just great stuff. Bleed, man. They tried to get aggressive. They actually got taken down. It was, what, a 1-for-1 trade, a 2-for-1. And in the end, we see them. This is my first time actually seeing them kind of fight, taking control, and just not allowing Kizuna to kind of make their way on towards side. Usually it's a retake. Usually Neff doesn't get aggressive. He saves the flashpoints for the retake itself, but this time they make it work. I think that revive from Crazy Guy really turned it around.
Yeah, honestly. Darion unfortunately gave his position away. Wasn't able to land that hit. And now immediately that whole area is under Kizuna's control, but I think Kizuna doesn't really want to try and wrestle that control from Darion, so they decide to move to the other side. Regardless, the both teams moving the other way, they are gonna still go back towards C. As Riza gonna just throw a Prowler there just to get some information. Does expire. Slow from Crazy Guy. Does not allow them to push out any longer. Still another 1 minute to go. They have a lot of time on their hands.
Yeah, one Prowler and it already pulled the rotations from Bleed. There was quite a few players towards C, and now they've rotated them back towards that A site. And this execution on towards C is on the way.
Yeah, but here comes Scary, still holding, does not move at all. Paranoia, just smokes just to put that, but look at the push out from Shinsei. And up will just immediately take him out the way. Nano Swarm kill from Darion. Shinsei, so aggressive, jumps out of the way. The Aftershock as well, just to buy some time and not allowing anyone onto the side. Darion's timing was just too good as the smoke dissipates. Darion still gets Riza in the end, regardless of whether or not he can hear. Bryce and Kimmy's at one each. Neff does trade out with Bryce in the end. Neff still holding down the line, has not moved. Is Kimmy against Crazy Guy, and Neff has not moved. They know where exactly he is. He's playing onto the site here, like it or not. He does hear footsteps. Timing not on his side. The Aftershock just to put him out of the way. Just kind of like box him inside of Waterfall. Now this sprays to come through. Kimmy wins it in the end. They just lined up for him.
Easy stuff. I think Kimmy just picked the perfect rotation, the perfect position to actually relocate. You know, the spike is planted for Bend, but he actually makes his way in towards water. He just watches the cross, and Crazy Guy got caught with his pants down, with his hands up. I think it was a wall he was trying to pull off. But in the end, man, just insane stuff. I think that could have not, well, even though it was, what, 1v2, I feel like Bleed definitely was able to do a lot of damage here to the economy. if Kimmy was not able to win out this
Không, anh
round,
đang
you
cầm
know,
tường á.
that would have been a different story.
Honestly, I think both players of Bleed were just so, I think, fixated toward Ben because they thought that
the spike was planted for
yes,
Ben.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they weren't expecting Kimmy to actually be toward Waterfall. So the idea was, well, that's the most logical idea. But at the end of the day, I think because it's so unpredictable, this is where also Bleed. I mean, this is twice already. I think in the previous map we had Riza in the corner. They were expecting Riza to be inside of the lockdown, and then you still have Kimmy playing toward Waterfall. I think this is when I think Bleed will be like, okay, I think we should really expect the unexpected from Kizuna. And I think this timeout from Kizuna is also honestly great because they really, even though that was a win, but it's just too costly.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the amount of money that they have here on towards the Bleed side. Not looking too good here, especially since you have to invest. You want to save up to invest that operator for DyAC itself. You can see that 3.5k on Juicy. He can buy up. He can get a sheriff at least. Okay, there we go. He goes for the sheriff. But I mean, keep a little something here for that operator.
Yeah, I mean, for Juicy, I mean, we've seen a lot of value coming in from Juicy as well as Darion. They are the type of players that I think will excel regardless of what weapons are in their hands. Regardless, no movement quite yet. This is a very different mindset from the side of Kizuna. They understand that on these sort of rounds, they need to play it different because the mindset from Bleed can go aggressively if they want to. And they have to be careful of the headshots as well, especially from Juicy.
Gamble from Bleed. They actually stack 4 players towards C. Now they get all the information. They're clearing it out, especially since Neff is just hearing a little bit of these sound cues outside of this door.
Yep, that's all they need. They hear door play as well. Kimmy's so very close, and Neff's just holding the line. He does hear him outside, just gonna break the door. Gives a little bit of space there. We've seen so many shotgun plays at that particular door. No movement quite yet. Plant comes through here. Kimmy's still holding. Thought that everyone had left, but immediately Juicy.
By the way.
Beautifully done headshot, but it's a trade on trade here, even with the depth.
Oh.
And in the end, Bleed wins it in the end. Are you kidding me?
Classic sheriffs. What more could you ask for here from Bleed? This is how they steal the rounds. This is exactly how they did it
thrifty.
against X10.
What a thrifty.
They peek out together as a team. They take those fights, and they're just able to win it. They use that numbers advantage.
That is today's highlight reel, 100%. And everyone's just going to be so confused as to what the heck happened there.
They cut the double swing from Rubble. Take out the player close A link with the classic on Juicy. You know, even if you have the Vandal, even if you have the Odin, you're going to be, your head will take that 1, maybe 2-3 milliseconds to really think about who you want to shoot at. And they took advantage of that. A thrifty round, and that will probably not be the first thrifty round we're going to be seeing. We're going to be seeing more.
Of course. I mean, I always thought that X10 is one of those teams that do really well on thrifties. And then now Bleed pulls that out, a flawless on top of that.
Man.
Insane.
Operator on Juicy as well. This is going to be a very dangerous round.
And he didn't move at all. He makes his teammates break it, and he just satchels out to safety. Regardless, they do have the smokes from Scary as well to reinforce them. A spray from Scary and his teammate. Nice little double swing catches Bryce off guard. And I think it's already pretty much premeditated that we're going to have a lurk there toward B side.
Yeah, it's always it's very, very normal. And I like the fact that Bleed invests 2 players to actually clear out that B push, that B lurk. Nonetheless, now, once again, Bleed with the numbers advantage.
That was a smoke there, as well as the Sage wall. And look at CrazyGuy on that elevated position. If they do not check, it's going to be a problem. But I don't think they even knew. And the sprays come through here. They know right now. They spray up, and a nice little reposition from CrazyGuy saves his life. Aftershock from Neff takes out Riza. Makes it so very hard. They're in trouble here as Neff just cleans up house. It just feels so perfectly well done. Scary finds Kimmy in the end. It's a flawless round once again, 2 in a row. One with just their classics and the other one with rifles.
Man, can you imagine how deadly these guys are when they have the rifles up on board? Classics already, they're able to pull out miracle rounds. When they've got the rifles, it's dangerous. Neff able to hit some nasty shots. The utility usage on this man is incredible as well. You know, putting on the fault line towards the link. At the same time, the aftershock, and it was just able to take down a free frag on towards Riza. He had nowhere to go. They had the information.
Basically, they herded into that small little area,
exactly.
right?
CrazyGuy on top of that A site wall was able to give the information towards the Neff, and they just used it with ease.
Yeah. And that op shot from Juicy, even though it does not hit, it gives all the information they need that they, like, do we want to fight? Do we want to fight against this op on A long?
You just can't, man. It is tough. We've seen Darion use that operator. He's able to pick up 2 free frags here and there all across the map. Imagine in the hands of Juicy, in the hands of Raze. That's going to be a different story. And this is an aggressive push here coming in from Bleed to clear out C. That's a first.
Immediately, Shinsei with the first contact finds Scary. Beautifully done. Now, without Scary, might be a little bit difficult, at least from Bleed. It's still one way, at least there. Still in their... It's for their use, rather. But I think it's going to be a rotate here. And I think for Kizuna, really picking a site has been something that's very hard for them. They go and try and go and fight towards C. Because of how small it is, their spawn from all 3 sites.
Wow.
It gives them a lot of value here. And the aftershock, or the fault line, pulls Juicy out of the way. Rolling Thunder as well. Just a satchel away from Juicy. He still does get caught, but at least it's going to be in the safety toward drop. Inside a smoke here, and Bryce catches Darion out the way. Flaring does find Juicy in the end of the day as well. Finally getting a plant here after 2 rounds in a row of not getting those picks. Shinsei is so very low, but we know that he is not the type of person to be deterred by low HP. No movement quite yet, as crazyguy is still trying to pinpoint where exactly the other members of Kizuna are. Emily's here and moves from that sound cue. Neff finds Kimmy in the end. Crazyguy finds one more. Bryce still gets crazyguy, but Neff is a trade on trade, I have to say, for this particular game. Tug of war once again for Lotus.
That was an interesting round from Bleed. You don't normally see them expand the Rolling Thunder to clear out C long. You know, yes, Kizuna, what they try to do is play default. They try to pull the rotations towards C, take the orb, you know, do a couple of pop shots at work, and Bleed fell into that bait. They go for the Rolling Thunder. As Scary pushed up towards C long and actually got taken out by one of the Kizuna players. While all that was happening, Bryce was chilling towards A long, having all this information for them to rotate back towards A. And we saw Flaring holding the smoke, waiting through towards A Link, and was able to get that easy frag as well. One of the quick rotations of Bleed. But look at this, already very explosive. A change of pace probably here from Kizuna.
But they don't really want to really go explosive. You saw the haunt just now, didn't give them the value that they needed. Regardless, they still are going to be going for that lurk. Bryce this time playing a little bit more cautious. Jump peeks first, Darion and him. Timing, just missing each other, honestly. As Darion moving toward his other teammates here, as Neff going to push out toward B. Now, they did see that pull from the bot, and Emily Flaring still finds Neff in the end of the day. Darion suspecting there's going to be a put here. Immediately, both lockdowns put down at the same time, which means that both teams, both players have to move out of the way. And his lockdown does get taken out of the way there by the aftershock. It's going to be a problem here as they move out of the way. And I think that in this situation, it's going to be a full retake by Bleed. And here's Scary, just going to play inside of smokes. We also have the showstopper as well. The sprays come out here from Shinsei. Juicy does find Kimmy in the end of the day. Riza playing off-site here toward Ben, has his teammate to really back him up. Still one more to worry about. Riza with those taps have been huge. Finds Darren in the end. It's still scary to worry about one
nhớ là bản gần nhất là sửa lại là không phá được rồi mà. Hay là nó ném thêm cái gì mà?
Find him. Haunt barely misses him, and Shinsei was just holding the
còn thêm
line.
nét cứu roi à?
Just a great round overall here from Kizuna. I feel like Bleed, they have the right idea. They know for a fact that Kizuna like to make a lot of noise towards one side, rotate back towards the other. And it was very apparent because we saw I think it was Neff who was playing towards B. He was just watching the rotation. There was so many shots being popped towards that A side. And all he did was just wait. He waited. He had the opportunity to take down Flaring, but Flaring was actually able to well, get the better of him. But in the end, we saw the retake coming in from Bleed. Just the usual, the quick, fast retake. But Shinsei, instead of allowing them to come in quick, he went aggressive himself. He pushed towards Waterfall. He was able to get that pick on towards Darion. You know, and it kind of changed the pace of that retake from Bleed. They just really decided to, okay, let's slow things down. And while all that happened, they just got picked off one by one, trying to peek towards C, towards Mound.
If you remember the interview that I had with Louvre before, did ask like for Shinsei, not interview, sorry, I asked Redco for is your team built around Shinsei and his aggressive plays? They're like, yeah, Shinsei makes his own decisions. Shinsei plays as aggressively as he wants. And I think that in this situation, I think Shinsei's decision making to play like this has been really phenomenal for the team, because it allows him to not only take up more space, because it's a lot of the trust as well, understanding and also confidence that he's able to take up that space and actually win those gunfights.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to go make these unprecedented plays up against a team like Bleed. You know, they do the same thing every round. They allow you to take the site, they allow you to get the spike down, but they come in for the quick retakes. So Shinsei, he put matters into his own hands and really caught Bleed off guard with that push, because we haven't really been seeing them get aggressive during retakes.
Still, this time Scary will be trying to play a little bit more aggressive, putting himself forward, but Shinsei, he already anticipated that teleport is going to be behind Mound toward the right, so he had a hell of an angle. Nasty.
Big brain plays now, slowing things down. They go aggressive again to try clear out C. Use one flashpoint here from Neff, but still have the information. They know for a fact there are a couple of players here, but will they be committing? Will they be coming in for the execution? For the past, 10 rounds, Kizuna have been going, making noise towards C, rotating towards A. This time around, they actually commit towards that C.
Yeah, but Bleed has just been really quick to play off these utilities. Right as he heard the charge of the utility, he came out, got the pick, and then just moves out of the way. Juicy, once again, he tried to double dip. This time around, he's still being very cautious. Crazy Guy with utility did get that value he wanted. The C's does find him in the end. He's so very low. Riza sprays a little bit too much for him to handle. Riza, the Prowler, will at least give him the information. See if anyone's playing over there. And Flaring finds one more, and that's exactly what I was talking about. That B control gives him so much, I would say, access toward both sides. And immediately the sprays come through. Neff still wins it. Nice little cross from Kimmy. 13 seconds to go. All the time in the world for him to plant.
Wow, Kizuna is they are blowing my mind right now. Just so much rotations towards C, towards B, and now it's all Darion. 8 bullets left in the chamber. Can he win this 1v2?
Still holding, but this time around he still gets that first pick so very sharp. He has his suspicions where exactly Kimmy would be, and wins it at the end. Nice little clutch from him to bring them back to a 5-5.
Calm and composed. He knew that, you know, Kimmy wanted to maybe go for that peak. He at least get the trade. He tried to find the right timing there, but Darion was just super ready. Held the angle towards the right side of that pillar. You know, it could have been either left, right, could have been coming out towards water, but he was just so adamant that Kimmy was there on towards site. Beautiful clutch, but I love the fact that Kizuna are playing a little bit different now. They're not sticking to the same fake A, go C, fake C, go A. They're changing things up a little bit. They put a couple of pop shots towards C. They stay there, they commit, and actually make their way towards B site and pull the rotations from that C site towards B. And once again, they just use the rotating doors to their advantage to make their way towards C, just playing with the minds of Bleed. But in these situations where it's down to those 1v2 clutches, any one of these Bleed players can really just pull off those steals, pull off those miracle rounds.
He already has his turret there to really play off contact if he wants to. Immediately just finds Riza into the day, finds 2 all the 3 with utilities. Darion knows exactly how to play with his nanostorm and alarm bots there. Bryce and Flaring still one more to worry about, but Crazy Guy from the backside and a Spectre on top of that. Bring it back home.
Last round.
That's a Crazy Guy with a Spectre all the way towards that A link, A rubble, spraying you down towards stairs. He had a little bit of assistance, but man, that's a tough recoil to control. And he just made it look so easy. But Darion has to be the man of that round right there. Picking up 3 players, 1 towards 3, 2 towards that A stairs. And it really just thinned down the numbers enough for Bleed to wrap things up. And the thing is, you see Bleed, when Darion is in trouble, the 2 players towards A, towards C who's flanking, they're not walking, they're coming in hot. They want to assist him as much as we can.
Yep. Darion immediately gonna put out his utility, but since there are no more sounds, he might just save it for another day. And this is what's great about Kizuna, because they're trying to bait out as many utilities as they can. And with access toward door, toward B, towards C, they can rotate as much as they can because they're so very close to A.
Yeah, but the thing is with Bleed, you want to force their abilities out, but they don't even use it.
No,
they don't use it. They just wait for the retake and use it when the retake is on the way. See, the Paranoia is still available. Flashpoints on Neff, Aftershock, Fault Line, everything is there for the retake. So if they're going to make their way on towards this B site, that utility is going to be dangerous. But Shinsei!
So very close. The aggression and the knives. You still get one more. But Scary stops it in the end of the day. Not going to let it happen. Sprays through smokes here from Scary. And now the noise is cut once again. It keeps them guessing. And finally, Darion drops that lockdown gives them all the space in the world. It flushes the other members of Kizuna off the site. Now Darion trying to catch them as in the mid rotations here, and CrazyGuy gets that that revive as well. And here comes the Rolling Thunder, another Rolling Thunder. All those utilities just thrown out in the end. CrazyGuy will be the one to have it. Come through, but Pros on fake. Immediately Riza gets two. CrazyGuy gets one of his own. Darion gets one more. Scary and Darion have to make something happen here. Darion quick on the ball. They know exactly where Kimmy is, but time not inside. Scary gets it, but there is no time. So close. But Kizuna gets that point, ending this half with a 6-6.
Wow, that could have gone either way. Just amazing stuff from both those two teams, from both the breaches. The Rolling Thunder came in at the exact same time. Well, not exact same time. It just, the attacking one came in first, and Neff was smart. He instantly Rolling Thundered back to not allow Kizuna to use it to their advantage. And while all those fights were happening, we saw, I think it was Riza wrapping towards that A-Link door and being able to just set up a crossfire to take down whoever's going in for that defuse. So incredible stuff here. Incredible half we've been seeing from both these two teams. Just one team trying to outwit the other team. And in the end, it's just an equal scoreline, 6-6. Can now Bleed take this away, though? That's the question. Because we've seen their attacking side on Haven. They were deadly. They were able to control the pace, to control the map. And that's what Kizuna really has to watch out for here.
JS đâu có trong này đâu bạn.
In this situation here, I mean, Juicy really pops up when it comes to attack, taking out that space. And you really need to have Scary and Neff to enable him. Regardless, this aggression, CrazyGuy, just really quick. We talk about initiators taking that first pick usually, but it's CrazyGuy leading the pack as a sage.
Ông này đẹp trai á.
The fact that he went for the peak, knowing that he has a heal, he has a slow orb and the barrier orb as well, which are very important utilities to hold off the retake from Kizuna. That is just a ballsy move there, and he just made it work so well. Quick attack now towards this A side where it is completely clear, just free real estate for Bleed.
A wall off stairs gives him all the access in the world. Nice little satchel onto the side here from Juicy. He satchels on top of that box, honestly. He was already anticipating the nanoswarm. Waits for it to be popped. Neff plants it in the end of the day. Bryce just trying to really figure out where exactly they are going. I'm surprised that Bleed did not take all the way to the top side of this area here, but they don't want to overheat Kimmy. Just waiting for his teammates to come through before he just lets it rip. The Prowler is out at the same time. He realizes that he's walled off. Nice little spray from Scary. Finds Riza and Denade. Another gonna hold this little angle here. They got smoked out, but look at the crossfires from Bleed. It's just so very dominating.
Yeah, Bleed used a lot of utility to actually make to get their way on towards that A site, but Neff was still holding on to the flashpoint if needed. But just the crossfire that they set up past that wall was just such an easy thing to hold. You know, two players, one from each side. If they come up towards you, all you gotta do is just shoot them in the middle. But nonetheless, we just saw one of those players from Bleed jumping in towards that wall, going for those right clicks, just being super dominant and straight up in the faces of Kizuna. I think Kizuna, they tried to take a play out of the Bleed defense, you know, allow them to take that side, use our utilities to go for the retake itself, but it just did not work out because that one single barrier orb.
Oh my god! In the middle of his jump, are you serious?
He's gonna learn his lesson. He won't do that ever again. That's for sure.
He lost his shields there too. So unfortunate. Honestly, so sharp if you think about it. Riza really takes up that space that was left behind. You hear the door being activated here. And then suddenly a push out from Kizuna. Look at how far in Flaring is. And Flaring does find one. Juicy trades it back. We see that Juicy actually has a rifle in hand. He force bought that.
Yeah, it's tough. So much information by Riza. He's pushed up all the way towards long. They know it's going to be a C hit. He can't really do much with the HP that Shinsei has.
He tried to jump shot him, but Kimmy and Bryce won each. Juicy for 3 already.
He's quick.
Yep, this Vandal is doing so much damage to Kizuna. 1 versus 2. We've seen this happen just now. Darion managed to get this clutch. But for Riza, in his hand is only a classic. He does not have the fancy guns. There is a gun right by him. He can pick it up if he wants to. But Riza, we know that he is very sharp with the Guardian. That haunt goes down. He doesn't know where exactly anyone is, so he's putting his sights onto an angle where Juicy might be. He has his sights down straight here, and the timing beautifully done.
So quick.
Yep, and Riza just walks into his crosshair.
Reactions on this man and just the pinpoint accuracy on those micro flicks, it is incredible stuff. Kizuna, they made it expensive though, so they're going to be able to have the better buy here in this bonus for Bleed. Nonetheless, those shots with the Sheriffs from both Kimmy and Bryce on towards that C side really slowed down Bleed and put them down a notch, took them off their high horse. Nonetheless, that's 2 rounds here for Bleed, winning out the pistol and the anti. Can they keep up this momentum? But looking at the weapons that they're bringing into this one, it's going to be very difficult to deal with the defense of Kizuna.
Yeah, I mean, also considering the fact that this is their bonus, but Juicy did keep his rifle from before. They do have 2 rifles, and we have seen Juicy and DyAC play multi-frags. So depending on what happens, depending on who exactly enables them, it might be a whole different story, and DyAC pops his first nade there to clear out that corner.
Yeah, it clears out the alarm bot as well, so it's definitely going to help them to make their way on towards side, to allow anybody to try go in for the lurk as well. So just beautiful utility used from Darion there.
For Juicy just now, clears out that corner with his pain shells. And because of this denial of information, it's really hard for them to really figure things out. But look at that. Because they have control of Mount, they have control toward rotating doors at the same time. But they're going to be changing their minds here because of that paranoia. They're going to say, okay, either we go toward B or we can get straight out and go toward A. But here comes the showstopper. They say,
oh,
denies that from coming through here. Crazy Guy does find him in the end. Both actually, Kimmy and him, walls out the back of the site. Gives them so much space to go for that plant if they want to. DyAC pushing up here, holding up the top side of stairs here. Upper B Haven, Shinsei a little bit more quick on the ball. 2 in his pocket, and still 1 versus 2 situation here. Crazy Guy, he does have no utilities, no slows, and nothing. He still finds Shinsei. He knows exactly where he's going to be. Nice little revival to come through. Baits out his teammate. Fork in the pocket. I'm sorry, I revived you and used you as bait.
Did Crazy Guy hit that shot on towards Shinsei?
Good.
That was an insane flick straight to the head. Shinsei, all it took was 1 bullet to his toe if he needed it, but straight to the head. He realized, he knew for a fact all he needed was 1 kill to get that revive out. He got that frag on towards Shinsei, revive his teammate, get the information on where that second player was, because if you're that last player for Kizuna, you want to take down that player before he gets res. You don't want to turn it into a 1v2. And Crazy Guy was just able to use his crazy mind to win out that 1 versus 2. It's not just DyAC who has the clutch potentials. It's this Crazy Guy from Vietnam too.
He's playing off information at that point as well. He was anticipating that push out. And DyAC, 2 utilities just to get him out of the way. Slows as well just to stop this push out. Shinsei, Cloud Burst just to give him a little bit more space. On top of that, a Nano Swarm. They are trying to buy as much time as they can, not allowing them to push at all toward this area. Regardless, B side will be one they want to go for. This time, Juicy taking up that space up to upper B site. Holding on, playing toward the side of the smokes.
Man, this is tough. Sheriffs here in the hands of Kizuna. They are very strong with these weapons.
Scary already finding Shinsei. Look at how quick it's going to be. DyAC finds Bryce already. As Crazy Guy finds 1 more, not able to trade out. Riza goes down in the end of the day. And I think that for B side, I always talk about how open it is to retake and take. But the fact of the matter is, when you have such control of the area where everyone's pushed out with nice crossfires, it's so hard to retake.
We saw Juicy already pushing up towards the connector from B and C. He was already up there, straight up in their faces, you know, hitting these fights, getting those frags. It just really broke down the opportunity here for Kizuna to come in for the retake. Yes, they had the Sheriffs. If they could hit the shots, it would be great, but to expect Bleed to push up into your face, it's difficult here to hit those shots.
This time around, this is a very, very aggressive Bleed. Look at how much space they've taken. Full control of Rubble as well. Gonna go to a door here. They can either go in dry or they're gonna agree using their utilities. Riza is not allowing them to come through. Does get tagged. Not a lot of damage, but enough to deter him. Pushes him out of the area. Now they're just gonna go straight toward B once again. It's been working out so great for them playing the area, and they wall off that area, not allowing them to push through at all.
Nobody on. Oh my god.
Crazy Guy was still there. They thought everyone was inside of B. Rolling Thunder as well to come through. Juicy moving out of the way and immediately Flaring finds DyAC in the middle of pushing out toward the top side here. Flaring is concussed. Scary comes through, but Kimmy still wins it in the end. Juicy finds Kimmy. Nice little crossfires come in from both players.
Wow,
Flaring
what a shot.
finds 5 HP. Doesn't really matter when I can just win all these gunfights. Neff finds Bryce. Gonna go for the plant. No idea where the other 2 members of Kizuna are. Flaring is so very low, but he does still have one more utility to play with. And Crazy Guy playing inside of smokes, playing very, very quietly, and just so thankful that that option did not hit him. Still enough to scare him outside of the area. Gonna be watching toward a tree, and here comes the rolling thunder one more time. The spray to come up the top side. Crazy Guy still wins in the end. Caught Shinsei off guard. Look at this crossfire, 2 different angles to find a very low HP Flaring. He still gets in the day. Still one more hit. I was so worried. If Flaring won that, I would have just been so shocked.
Yeah, I mean, Flaring, we saw in the middle of the round there, he was able to hit some nasty shots, some crazy headshots towards the Bleed. But that time around, you know, just so much pressure on his shoulders. It's going to cause a full-on timeout here by Kizuna. But that round was just so back and forth. A lot of the seesaw actions towards B, back towards the A side, and it kind of left Kizuna guessing, but they were very early here for the retake. They wanted to go for those fights. They had the information that eventually that Bleed was rotating towards that A site, but I did not expect Neff to be so ready for Bryce in towards tree. You know, you don't expect anyone to be there still when you've already pulled so much information towards that B site. You've already gotten frags there. Just incredible stuff. Neff super aware, taking down Bryce, and it really secured them that 2v2, especially since Flaring was down to 5 HP.
I think on top of that, Darion's frags are just so high because he's just been really good at not only holding the site, but also those lurks at the same time. He plays these nice little angles that he holds, and every time, you know, Kizuna were to just swing into the area, he's always good for 2 or even 3. He's just so insane how he's able to just land those shots. Man's be playing aim labs in this middle of the match.
Yeah, I mean, just insane, especially on that defensive side. You don't expect the Killjoy to have the operator, but he's just so strong. He gets the perfect position. He has the quick enough reaction time to take down 1 or 2 players before they allow Kizuna to actually enter the site. But now, down to round 18. Bleed looking very aggressive towards Rubble. They want to take control as much as possible. They know for a fact that Kizuna has been attempting to take A long every single time, but this time around they were ready for the fight. Already tree in their hands.
Yeah, when it comes to this situation here, look at how much control they have on the side. This is a very explosive round, very quick to take this area, and they immediately clears out all of the utilities on the ground. Now the plant comes through. Now all they have to do is just play it for post-plant. Now for the side of Kizuna here, because they don't really have the fullest of buys, they have to really figure out how exactly they want to play aggressive. We also hear the Nightfall come through. You can see the utilities come out as well. Shinsei with the blade still finds scary the other day. Neff just faked him. But now for Neff, he is going to throw out another utility, not allowing them to push inside of the area. Flaring is so very low. You have both the lockdowns put out as well. Both teams just trying to wrestle for that control. Riza gets a taps with the Guardian. At this point, just call him the King of Guardians as Juicy does find Kimmy in the end of the day. Flaring still very, very crispy. Juicy finds Riza. Flaring with the nice little wall bang onto Juicy. Pain Shells finds Bryce. Daryon so alone on the site. Still gonna go down, but it is still a clutch.
Yeah, I mean, a very nice retake coming in from Kizuna. Not a lot of these players from Bleed were actually playing towards 3. They were allowing Kizuna to come in for the retake because they knew they had the utility to deny the defuse. So easy stuff. We had a little bit of a long fight between Neff and Flaring. Flaring was actually able to win out the fight eventually, but when it came down to that 1v1, Daryon was just able to win it out, even though because he had the information. He knew for a fact there was no time. He knew Flaring was coming from A Rubble. No time at all. Threw his guns on the ground, get blown up, and that's match point. 6 match points here for Kizuna. No, sorry, for Bleed. And Kizuna have a lot of work to do.
When I saw Bleed play against X10, I was a little worried coming into this match. But I think they really learned a lot and had fixed whatever they couldn't really do or execute against X10 before. They looked very dominating, especially on the second half. They really figured out how exactly they want to play on attack. Regardless, it's for Kizuna. It's just really hard for them to play against Bleed because they're just so overwhelming the way they take the area and hold after the post plant.
Yeah, definitely. Playing with the revolving doors, pulling rotations, you know, Kizuna just have no idea which side Bleed is actually attempting to hit.
Showstopper as well. Shinsei plays so close, still gets Crazy Guy in the end of the day. No!
Is he still alive?
One gets shot by the Showstopper, but Juicy does get Shinsei in the end. Kimi with the Guardian, but Darian and Neff gonna be trading it out. 2 versus 3 situation here. Not the best situation for Kizuna to be in. We've seen Bryce do some insane clutches, but I think for Bleed, it's better for them to go for that rotate. No idea where the other 2 members are, not allowing them that control of the site.
So smart. And I love the fact that Bleed is utilizing these revolving doors to their favor every single time. We saw Kizuna do it, but it just did not work out in their favor. This time around, Bleed is just playing with them. They make their way on towards site, just pull the rotations and use those doors straight towards his B site.
Turret is what they're going to be putting here. They also have the alarm bot. It gives them all the information they need. Playing onto upper B is just so good because it allows him to really put down that aftershock. And now the sprays come through. Riza and Bryce gets the taps. There's still one more person to worry about. It's going to be Scary. One.
Oh my god.
Scary lives up to his name. And we go 13-6-2-0 in favor of Bleed.
So, I mean, if you need anyone to clutch, it's definitely going to be Scary. The man himself, the legend from Thailand. It is just phenomenal. His aim is always on form, and he just makes it look so bloody easy. You know, just a great game overall coming in from Bleed. The way they're able to turn things around in that attacking side. You know, usually when they're on the defense, Kizuna on the attacking side, they're able to kind of play at their own pace, win out a couple of rounds. Bleed is going to be able to win out a couple of miracle rounds here and there. But when Bleed is on the attack, that's when the danger happens. That's when things get so difficult for Kizuna to deal with because they don't know that not only has Bleed has some master plays to rotate here, there, everywhere across the map, but even when it comes to the fights, when it comes to these duels, the clutches, the 1v2s, they're able to win, what, 80, 90% of the time.
I would say that this match is kind of reminiscent to what we saw from Extend, but not as close. Now, I think this is primarily because Bleed wasn't really able to figure out what exactly or how exactly Kizuna wanted to play every single round. But once they moved to attack, because it's more of like they are the one who is setting that pace. And because they're able to really take their time, they can really go for those picks. And I would say that in the first half, it's really a back and forth. It's just Bleed really trying to figure out how exactly Kizuna will be playing. Because Kizuna is not the kind of team that really, I would say, commits onto the side at first. How many utilities did Kizuna put in before they finally commit to another site? And I think that's the biggest problem that Bleed had in terms of trying to rotate and play together. But when it came to the attacking side, because they're able to just play so fluidly, because on how exactly they play toward A is the fact that they have so much control from A route all the way to the broken door and the rotating doors. So because they have so much access from main area all the way to B side, they can pretty much rotate wherever they wanted. And that's the problem with Kizuna, because they're not able to play together because they can't rotate and play together.
Yeah, and the thing is, whenever Bleed hit that C site, they put 2 or 3 members on towards the site itself. You know, it looks like it, for me, it's convincing that they're going to go for that plant. I looked at the site, I see them rotating outside of B. Oh, they're playing post plant towards mound, but they haven't even planted the spike. They convinced me, they faked me out. So imagine how fake Kizuna would be. They were probably stunned, but they already put Juicy on towards C site. He got 1 frag, we traded him out. Spike is not down, they're actually rotating towards B. They're not ready. And in that last round, we saw 3 players alive. It was the Breach Neff, we had Scary on that Omen, and 1 more was Darion with the Killjoy.
Yes.
Just the way they played it, the way they used their agents was so perfect. The smoke towards spawn, alarm bot towards inside that smoke. So if anyone would try to push towards that smoke, Neff from the upper B position was able to put the fault line down. You know, it just delay, and a Scary from upper B. Of course, he has to be there to cover any sort of rotations. He was able to win out those 1v2s with ease. He's insane. He's cracked, and well, just an incredible game overall. An incredible series from Bleed.
Yeah, but let's have a look at the MVP here, and it's gonna be, who is it gonna be here? And it's gonna be, honestly, Darion. Honestly, I'm not surprised because he's just so really good on that, I would say, anchor. As an anchor, he's just so good at playing alone. He was able to get 3 frags on his own, playing just off his alarm bot as well as his tower on contact. It's just what's so good. He buys so much time for his team to get the rotations in, but at the same time, you really have to commend the idea of how exactly Bleed commits or plays toward all the maps. There's only one theme toward this toward Bleed has always been control of the area. And I think that when you give Bleed an area, they're able to take up that space and hold it. Yes, I think that there are a lot of hero moments. There are a lot of plays, like even though it's 13-6, every single round felt very, very close. In a lot of situations, you're going to see 2 players of Bleed left alive, 2 players of Kizuna left alive. It's very rare that we had those 5 left alive, except for that hero round with the Thrifty from Bleed. I think there was 2 rounds in a row they got, like, I would say, flawless rounds. But after that is all those trades on trades on trades. It always came down to the final 1 to 2 players. And we're seeing a lot of hero plays at that moment, regardless. But because of how Bleed's mentality is like, because they're a very momentum-heavy team, they move on heat. They were able to change so many rounds in a row to the point that Kizuna wasn't able to really figure out how exactly they're going to be stopping them, because their economy was just not able to be recovered.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just insane overall. Their experience in these 1v2s, they're used to it. You know, these players, they're high tier, high profile players that just know exactly what to do at a certain situation. When you're in a 1v2, 1v3, it doesn't matter, because there's always, you get 1 kill, okay, what's next? Where should I reposition? It's just in an instant. For us, regular players, maybe like, okay, I got 1 kill, where should I go? Where should I reposition? For them, they just think about it. It's done. Instead of thinking, they just do. You know, that's the kind of plays we're seeing from Bleed, and that is the kind of plays that we're going to be having here across this whole split 2 groups.
Yeah, but for now, this is the end of our first series today. After this, we're going to go to series number 2. Don't go anywhere, because we're going to have a quick break. We'll be right back for more Valorant.
Ây da, mình có nên làm trận cờ trước khi đi gọi đồ ăn không ta? Có à? Ok luôn. Vào thôi. Vào thôi Hiếu. Ok Percy ơi. Mình có nick Hiếu chưa ấy nhở? Chán quá à. Mấy hôm nay chơi toàn top mấy á. Chán chẳng muốn chơi game nữa. Toàn top 7, top 8 á. Ok ok. Lobby TFT cho viewer nhưng mà có ai chơi đâu. Đâu có đủ 8 người đâu. Được, trong vòng 5 phút nếu như đủ 8 người thì chơi nha. Mình đi vệ sinh cái. Chuyển chế độ ở đâu ta? Mọi người ăn nick xong rồi vào. Ai át trước thì mình mời vào, mình không biết là ai đâu. Chơi nhanh. Tổ đội này là mở rồi đúng không ta? Hay là mình phải mở thế này? Ok, rồi nha. Em phải thấy lỗi á. Không sao, còn nhiều dịp mà. Công anh stream thì ít có custom thôi, chứ mình mà rảnh thì mình custom chơi với mọi người. Mình chơi một game thôi, xong rồi mình đi ăn. Thế xong rồi lát nữa Công anh về, Công anh stream rồi. Liệu đây có phải dấu hiệu để mình đánh xong đấu. Xong đấu có con gì đây? Được. Lắc đồ gì nhỉ? Đây à? Đây à? Lót game chị nghỉ rồi. Game chị nghỉ đi ăn kìa. Không cần cuồng đao á? Sao mình thấy mọi người chơi đều cần cuồng đao hết mà. Kiểu... sáu 28 không cần cuồng đao á? Thế hả? Là giao điện. Giao điện, băng bảo thạch. Với cả cái gì nữa? Dê khổng lồ hả? Hehe. Mình làm tí dê khổng lồ đi. Mình không chơi con này đúng không ta? Đúng rồi, hình như là kẹp thêm Annie nữa. Này nó chỉ kẹp thêm Annie này. Ẩn xong đấu á, ẩn xong đấu là xẻng ghép với cái gì ấy nhỉ? Vội đi. Này được ấy nhỉ? Đã phải lấy kiếm súng. Đấy luôn. Không, ngày xưa chị học Trần Phú. Sen 2 ạ, the fuck. Hehe.
Let the heavens bear witness.
Hello Tuấn Chu. thua rồi đấy. Mình thì chưa có con TF nào. Ý quên lấy ăn đi ấy. Ok, bỏ con đấy ra thì mất khung cảnh laser. Chị đánh normal. Này chả mấy con đồ hũ. Yeah. Một hay hai nhỉ? TF có dùng mana không đâu ta, đúng không? Thế nào bây giờ? Này đã có quả EZ rồi mà. Lên thế chịu rồi. Vẫn chưa nghĩ ra mình sẽ ăn gì. Cút luôn à? áo choàng này để làm gì bây giờ? Lên level luôn. Where is DF? Phần trăm tốc độ đánh và 10% sát thương. Tiền lên 9 á, sắp cút đến nơi rồi còn tích tiền lên 9. The fuck? Chung là chán. No hope. Lối đi nào cho Lenky. Đây rồi. Fuck you. Xong bây giờ mày mới ra. Chó này. Cố lên em ơi. Cố lên. Never mind. Phải TF2 thôi. Cút rồi.
Ngô Công Anh.
Này anh Công Anh make up trông lạ thế mọi người.
Cảm ơn Nghĩa nha. Không ra là không ra. Top 4. Chui. Mình off stream để đi ăn nha mọi người. Bye bye, cảm ơn mọi người đã xem.